Kelvin, Saturday was a historic day for freshmen with three players with 40 plus, including Kingston. I was wondering from a historical perspective, if you can kind of compare that to anything in your career and just, we've talked about the freshman class in the past, just sort of what these players are doing this season.
I mean, what do they say about it? That's the first time it's ever been done.
Yes, that's the first time that freshmen have scored 40 on the same day.
So there you go. There's no historical comparison. So um,
I mean, when you were at Oklahoma, you were there when, Durant was obviously at Texas, and I think there were
I
B.
wasn't there. I wasn't there with Durant.
Oh, that's right. He was in 07.
No,
Gotcha.
I've seen enough of him though. But no, I mean, I've been through a lot of freshman classes, obviously. Um, Paul Pierce, I remember. I don't remember how many points he had against us at um, Fog Allen. Um, Freshmen are different today, though, Joseph. The amount they play, how they travel, they're crisscrossing country and plains. They're playing high stakes games and um, EYBL, Puma Circuit, the Adidas Circuit. They get to go against each other. Um, you know, I saw DeBansa and Peterson. I remember watching I think it was Rock Hill, South Carolina. I watched Kalina Alozi play against Peterson. And then later that night, I saw Peterson go against Coa Pete. I saw Chris um, go against, those USA games, Debanza, Boozer. Um, I mean, it's just a unique freshman class. And then you have kids like Kingston and the kid from Illinois who just, I mean, I was watching their highlights when they beat Purdue. I couldn't believe how good that kid was. He was incredible. So it's one of those years, um, doesn't come along very often, but in this year in college basketball, and this it's great for the game. That's what I look at. Um, sometimes your sport needs a jolt, needs a boost, and this freshman class is creating flashpoints all over. People can't wait to see what they do next. And then probably the most consistent freshman of them all has been Boozer, um, who doesn't get his points like some of the other ones do, but he's just so efficient. So this is a special, special freshman class.
Thank you, Joseph. We'll go to Chris Baldwin with Paper City, Houston. Chris, please go ahead.
Hey, Calvin, good morning.
Morning.
How did you guys spend the extra time in Lubbock? And did you guys watch film as a team or do anything
Yeah, watch
preparation
film.
wise?
Yeah, watch film.
Thank you, Chris. We'll go to Ryan Monso with GoCoogs.com. Ryan, please go ahead. Ryan, are you there?
Sorry, just having a little trouble. Kelvin, how does the travel issues in Lubbock change your week in terms of day off or any of the other things?
It doesn't. Yesterday was supposed to be the day off, so today we have to, um, we were able to go to our meeting room and watch the Texas Tech film, and today we'll just go right to TCU.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. We'll go to Greg Bailey with KTRK TV. Greg, please go ahead.
Kelvin, good morning. You obviously zeroed in on the rebounding issues against Texas Tech. Is that more of a one-off in your view, or is that something that you've recognized needs attention previously?
Probably a little of both. More that's been a lot of the offensive rebound. A lot of the issues we had Saturday was just physicality. They were just pushing us out of the way and creating space. Um, you know, Chris is a teenager. He has a teenager strength. He doesn't have man strength. But there's a lot of physicality that goes on under that basket, and we've been on the good end of that most of the time, but we got physically manhandled under the basket the other day. So those are the things that we just got to keep working on and getting better at.
Kelvin, if I could follow up just real quickly, just kind of on the view of the freshmen, with all of the changes in college basketball, that there is some view that outside of these uber elite freshmen, that coaches may begin shying away from young players. What is your view on that? And maybe what are the rewards for you as a coach from taking someone who's not a top 10, 15 prospect and developing him into a player that can help you win championships?
That's kind of what we do. I don't think anything's going to change for us.
Thank you, Greg. We'll go back to Chris Baldwin, please. Chris, go ahead.
Calvin, what makes TCU's David Punch such a good rebounder and shot blocker as well?
Well, he's got a high basketball IQ. He's got great hands. He's a big, strong, burly kid that can play out of their boom actions and zoom actions, and he gets to his spots. A lot of we call booms handoffs. Like he throw it to a big and he dribbles over and hands it off to and the other teams. Sometimes they'll try to deny that. Sometimes they'll lock and chase it. Sometimes they'll slide it. He's smart enough to recognize how to use that to his advantage. A lot of times he'll fake it and keep it. So he requires a lot of preparation, but Jamie's done a great job of developing him. Played him last year as a freshman. I think he's a sophomore this year, but I think he started every game last year. He was a good player last year, and now he's really come along. He's if you can imagine what Jarris would have been like his sophomore year, what Chris would be like his sophomore year. That's the advantage of playing through their freshman year. So all these kids would be a lot better. Sometimes we get a misconception or misconstrue what an NBA player is. A lot of these freshmen are being looked at by the NBA, but they're no means an NBA player probably for 3 or 4 more years. So it's guys like Punch, though, that make great college players, because he's probably going to be a 4-year kid, and hopefully he'll stay at TCU. And if he does, he'll be one of their all-time greats.
Thank you, Greg. We'll go to Randy McElvoy with KPRC TV. Randy, please go ahead.
Morning, Kelvin.
Morning.
You mentioned post game there in Lubbock, just that the game against Texas Tech was great for the conference. I don't know your exact words, great for the country to watch that kind of basketball. You've been through a lot of these seasons now, especially in the Big 12. Is this as balanced as a Big 12 league as you've seen, or when you assess what's out there right now, the depth of this conference?
Well, if you look at all the analytical, all the things that you can derive from analytics, we're the #1 ranked conference, and it's usually not because of the top of your league, it's because of the depth of your league. You go all the way down through look at TCU. We were just watching. I was watching them earlier this morning. At one point in the second half, they were up 16 at Kansas, and I think Bill will be the first one to tell you they were very fortunate to win that game at home. Then TCU does the same exact thing at BYU. They were in a position to win that game too. Um, I think as a coach in this league, you know how hard each game is going to be. Um, I think going into that game Saturday, our record was 52-6. Um, Going into that game, our last 58 games, so we were 52-6. And one of the key things that we try to do, sometimes we're better at it than others, is take each game as they come. We lost that game, but it wasn't for lack of effort, wasn't for lack of preparation. We just got beat by a team that it's going to be hard to beat at home. I think the record was 10-0 at home. That's probably what our record is too. We're 10-0 at home or thereabouts. So it's hard to beat a really good team on the road because how good they are. But if you go down this, there's a lot of teams like this in this league. Arizona doesn't lose at home. Texas Tech doesn't lose at home. Kansas, Iowa State. But that's the beauty of this league. You're going to lose road games in this league. It's trying to limit the damage, make sure that game doesn't carry into the next game. Like the Texas Tech game. There was a lot of things we did great, which is why we're in a position to win it. Then there's a lot of things we need to clean up. The big thing is move on. We've got a big one coming up Wednesday night against a team that can certainly beat us. So they have our full attention. But the Big 12 this year is a great, great, great conference because every night you have a chance to either win or lose. I was watching BYU and Utah at Utah. Utah had a chance to win that game. People look at records and kind of ignorantly say, well, Utah's not that good because you're looking at their record. They're playing these teams tough. They're getting better. What Coach Lutz has done at Oklahoma State, same thing. So you learn to flush these losses. You got to have a very short memory, and you move on to the next one.
We'll go back to Joseph Duarte, please. Go ahead, Joseph.
Kelvin, a few weeks ago, Emmanuel had told us that on the rebound, and he thought for this team to get where it wanted to be, that the guards needed to average about four per game. Is that a matter of want just to get those, or how does that happen in your mind?
Yeah, I've come to the conclusion on those, Joseph. You should ask him that. Is that what he said?
Yes, that's what he
So
said.
what I would, that'd be a good question to ask him. I'd be interested in what he would say to that.
We'll go to Jason Bristol from KHOU TV. Jason, please go ahead.
Good morning, Kelvin. When you look at TCU, it seems to be one of those rare Big 12 teams that kept a lot of its rotational core, I guess. With a year under its belt, does this group look any different from what you remember last season?
I think they're a better version of what they are. First of all, they're always going to be extremely well coached, very disciplined. The point guard Harding, the kid they got from Iowa, has really brought them balance. If you go all the way back to them being in a position to win the Michigan game, they're so close to being ranked. This really is a ranked team. They're just not ranked, but they're a ranked team. They were in a position to beat Michigan, Kansas, BYU, Kansas, BYU on the road. I don't remember where the Michigan game was, but they've got an outstanding guards. The Pierre kid, can get 20 every night. They've got the punch kid who every school in America would love to have a punch. I mean, he's just a smart, tough, productive, high IQ, great decision, big. And then I think the most underrated player in their lineup is the Edmonds kid. I think they got him out of Salt Lake Community College, but he's real smart, shot fakes, uses his strength as the leverage. So every game they play, they're in a position to win just about every game. So I think it's indicative of an earlier question about or an earlier statement about how tough this league is. There's no coach out there overlooks or undervalues how good TCU is.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. We'll go back to Chris Baldwin, please. Chris, go ahead.
Calvin, has Ramone gotten better at those drives to the basket? He had that one in the second half, and I think three or four rebounds. What have you seen from him lately?
Yeah, he plays like a senior. Um, he's been around, cares about winning, tough kid, undersized, but not under fault. So his will and courage to go in there and be physical and mix it up is a huge part of our identity.
Thank you, Chris. We'll go to Cullen Avent from the Cougar. Cullen, please go ahead, sir.
Good morning, Coach. So you talk about TCU and how good they are, despite this being just all around good conference. They've had a few games this season, both wins and losses, where they got a little bit sloppy late in the game. Sometimes they finished and won, other times they lost. But what do you think from film is the biggest factor in those moments? And how is that something that you can exploit going into this game?
Well, I can't speak for them, only what I see. So it's just an opinion, which doesn't mean much. But they've got good players across the board. The fact that they're in the game and having the chance to win is what you should focus on. I mean, having a chance to win at Kansas, whether they finish or not, is the takeaway should be what they didn't do. They were in a position to win. That should be the focus. And same with BYU. Sometimes the other team makes a shot, just beats you. Look at those corner threes that the Atwell kid hit against us. Those were hard shots, tough shots. Sometimes you tip your cap to the other team and say, great play. And that's happened to TCU a few times. But it's also happened to Kansas. It's also happened to BYU. That's college basketball. That's going to happen every game.